Hey guys, welcome to this super special episode of What the F. We are live at the Research Ambassador Boot Camp for the Epilepsy Foundation of America. And if you're like, what is that? Let me tell you. It's where a bunch of people who are living with epilepsy, active in the epilepsy community, all come together, talk to researchers in the epilepsy field, connect, find out what's going on, and then bring it back to their communities. It is so amazing to be surrounded by so many other people who have lived experience with epilepsy. The power of connection is so real, and I hope and know and think you're going to really feel it from all these conversations I've had with amazing people from across the country. But before we get started, I want to give huge shout outs to sponsors Neurelis and SK Life Science, and also community partners Epilepsy Foundation of America, the Danny Did Foundation, and Epilepsy Alliance America. Without y'all, none of this could be possible. Or without George here.
I will say my name the way my friends are telling me to. I'm actually Dr. Alexis Myers. I'm a research scientist. I work in renewable energy and my friends are telling me to get better. I'm always like, I'm just Alexis. And they're like, you're not. And you won't usually find it in my bio, so here's the secret.
I know, I read your bio, it was not in there.
Yeah, I like to talk about the topic we're on.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, and an aspiring epilepsy advocate outside of just like for myself.
Okay.
So.
Oh my God, it's amazing. And where are you from?
I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina. It's rural coast of South Carolina.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And I'm coming from New Orleans though, that's where I live now.
So we do need to talk about the topic at hand, which is epilepsy, even though I want to fangirl about your whole job, and I'm going to call you Dr. Alexis the rest of the time.
All right.
But your seizures started in your sleep, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and so like that is awful, and I'm so sorry. But then where are you at with them now, and like how has that journey gone for you?
Yeah, so I had my first one that I'm aware of when I was 21, and I was just dating someone at the time. So there's actually still a lot of mystery, I would say, for me around like how long I've been having seizures in my sleep. Went to sleep one night and my partner at the time woke me up and was like, we're taking you to the hospital, like, what's going on? Like, are you okay? And I was like, bro, I was asleep. Like, everyone calm down.
Yeah.
And, where I went to college was about like a 4-hour drive from where I grew up in South Carolina. Okay. And so my parents drove through the night, and now we're all at the hospital, and apparently I have epilepsy. It wasn't like super clear, so they kind of kept me.
Never is.
Right, they kept me. They were like, maybe she won't have another one.
Right.
Like sometimes people have seizures, and it was a long road. I wouldn't say that South Carolina is super well known for its like medical care, mental health advocacy. But yeah, so it took a really long time. That was in maybe, I don't know, 2015 or 2016 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get an official diagnosis until 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have some, as I feel like we all do, some other like comorbidity things. So I have some mental health stuff that I deal with.
Okay, so you're on medical leave right now. Would you mind sharing why? And if
Yeah, so I'm on medical leave because my new neurologist was like, what's your regular seizure count during the month? And I was like, I don't know, like it's chill right now, like anywhere between like 4 and 6.
Yeah.
For me, that's great. When I first started having seizures, I was having like 10 to 15 a day.
Oh my gosh.
So 9 years later, I'm like, we're Gucci. Like everything's fine. Like I have bad days, but it's not a bad life.
Yeah.
And she was like, I believe we can make it better. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I've been on, so this is the 9th like seizure medication I've been on. Back when I was in Colorado, they were like, okay, so we're gonna officially call you like drug resistant.
Yeah.
So, you get
I'm in
you
that
get there. Right, exactly. We all get there.
Yeah.
We all get there, unfortunately. And yeah, so I just kind of, I came to terms with that.
Yeah.
And I kind of told her, I was like, it's gonna be hard for me to try another drug when I've already been told this.
Yeah.
No,
that's a really good thing to point out, because like I think sometimes doctors don't understand like they do and they don't. They're like, you have to titrate up slowly and titrate down slowly and all these things, so like they understand that, but it's also like the mental toll that it takes. It's not just the exhaustion. It's not just the brain fog. It's like I have to prepare myself.
Oh, totally.
Like I'm like, I will plan a med change like 6 months in advance. I'm like, I need to schedule it.
Well, and you alluded right to why I ended up being on medical leave. So tried to plan for it.
Yeah.
My mom needed an emergency surgery, And I left New Orleans and flew back to South Carolina for the month of December to be there to help her like recover from that.
Yeah.
And I had just started titrating onto in November. And my like next upage of dosage, I was not tolerating it well.
Yeah.
Like within 30 minutes of taking it, like I was falling down, like I was dizzy.
You poor thing. Oh
And
my God.
I live alone, so it's like not the best situation,
Yeah.
but you know, it was tough, but you know, I felt very confident I needed to like be with my mom at that time. And we upped my dosage again, like that just was naturally how the plan was supposed to be.
Sure.
And yeah, I was working my job, taking care of my mom, and titrating on a new medication. And so I couldn't, they were like, oh, Alexis, like you can drive to pick us up afterwards. And I was like, I don't have a car. Like regularly, I ride a bike. So I was already kind of hesitant to be back behind the wheel again. And I wouldn't say like, this was the time, you know, but when crisis calls, I guess we're doing stuff.
Well, yeah, you're left in these like hard and rock place situations all the time. Yeah.
And I don't know how I did it, but I drove probably like a half a mile from my parents' house. This is what the lines looked like on the road. It's like my focus is
They
off.
were all like almost moving?
Yeah, like it's
Or-
like I can't, like my depth perception is really bad, like within the first little bit of time, within waking up, and then also with a little bit of time after I get on it. And so I was really struggling, and I just had to call over, I had to pull over, call my friend, and I was like, how do I tell my parents that they're stuck at the hospital? Like I'm from a rural area, you can't take an Uber from the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
And so, you know, we made a plan, and I was like, okay, here are all the people in town who I could call, and we were able to get some people on the phone, and they followed me home, and they went and picked up my parents, and so.
It's very, very responsible of you, by the way. I just want to like commend you for that, for being.
Trying to be a grown-up.
Yeah. Well,
It's hard.
it is. Adulting is just, is very hard, and it's a lot harder with epilepsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, I think, I wasn't seeing a therapist at the time. I usually always am, and I just was between providers. And so I got a new one in the new year after I came back, and she was like, okay. So December was a tough month. And I was like, yeah, I'd say so. And just after working together over the past few months, she was like, I think you should take some time off. And my job.
I like this therapist.
Me
by the way.
too.
Yes.
Big fan. And my job is kind of demanding.
It sounds like it. It has words that I don't even know what they mean in the title.
It's tough right now. We're being hit pretty hard due to like the Trump administration, and so that's like we're losing a lot of funding, and we're losing staff, and so a lot of people, I would say, are doing more than what they originally applied to do. Right.
Yeah.
And so a lot of us are pulling all-nighters. I shouldn't be pulling any all-nighters.
No,
right.
No. I mean, like, no human brain should, but an epileptic brain really shouldn't.
Really shouldn't. Yeah. And I was probably pulling like, 2 to 3 a week for sure.
Oh my goodness.
And that's getting onto this new
Alexis,
drug.
That's insane.
I know.
But
and so I was like, I gotta get the heck out of here.
Yeah,
and so I needed learning to advocate for myself, hoping to advocate for others too, and so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is I just need to get on stable on this drug, and we'll see.
How has it worked with seizure frequency?
I think it's lower. There's just doesn't even matter.
I'm sorry, because I know what you're talking about. And you're like, it maybe is working.
I just gotta understand.
But I gotta keep trying. I've been on that road so many times where I'm like, I'm not really sure. And
I don't know, the last meeting that I had with my neurologist, I was like, can you just tell me what tolerable is?
Yeah.
Can you set that baseline? Because I'm so used to pushing through.
Sure.
So maybe my baseline isn't
That's
accurate.
a great question. Yeah, totally.
And she was like, yeah, if you're still falling down within 30 minutes of taking this drug, maybe it's not tolerable.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. I've just been falling down for 3 months now. And she was like, all right. I should have told me that. And I was like, I didn't know you wanted to know. Like,
oh my God, yes, I have the same experience where it wasn't falling down, but it was severe mental health issues I was having, like suicide ideation.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I know how to get through it, so you just get through it. And then my doctor was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You know? So it's those things that, like, I think sometimes we picture ourselves as a burden even to our doctors, even though we're not.
Yeah.
But epilepsy sometimes makes us feel like a burden to everything in our space. So, like, you are just handling this so healthily.
Great.
And, like,
doesn't feel that way. Thanks. I'm gonna put that right here to remember for later.
Okay, one last question I'm gonna ask you. What's something you wish more people knew about epilepsy?
I wish that more people just knew that, yeah, it's more than the seizures that I have every month or every day.
Yeah.
The reasons oftentimes that I have to, this is my third time like taking a significant amount of time off from like either school or work over my 9 years, and like it's never really because like my seizures, right? Like I may look, you might be like, why is Alexis at the park at 2 p.m., right? It's like, well, you know, like I couldn't lift
staring
my
off
head.
into space.
Right,
This is the best I can do today.
Literally.
Yeah.
And like just, you know, just know we're doing a lot more behind the scenes, and you shouldn't, your baseline of like whether or not I'm okay shouldn't be, oh, she couldn't get out of bed because she had a seizure in her sleep.
Totally, 100%. It shouldn't, God, I'm having all these flashbacks to when I took a break from work and people were like, what do you do all day? And I'm like, fucking survive.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to explain that to people, you know? So like, and I think that's, again, like I really appreciate you saying that, because I think that's just something like, it's like, we don't always look sick or look like we've had a seizure or look like we're going through something. But like your standards aren't ours.
Yeah.
Just like mine aren't yours. You know, it's the same thing. Okay, so I've got Adam with me, who is in hospitality management. Adam, where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Indianapolis, but I guess semi-relocated to Cincinnati, Ohio.
As I understand, diagnosed with epilepsy at age 12.
Yes.
But became seizure-free in October of 2024.
Right.
So that's a long time.
I'm only now kind of just getting my head around, wait, this is back to normal pace of life kind of thing. Like, it's still, I still get these incredibly emotional senses of generosity and empowerment, but also serious fatigue from being empowered and motivated and just kind of allowing myself to show up for everybody else and going, this is how the world is. This is bizarre.
Yeah. It must be like a total flip overnight. Not
Are you
overnight.
allowed to cuss on this show?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a fucking flip. Yeah, it's because not only did I pull off seizure reduction and whatever during a time of, you know, just weird societal collapse, but not collapse, but change. But I pulled off 25 years of it where a whole city and a whole medical system told me no.
What do you
Just
mean?
straight up to my face told me no.
No,
Yeah.
as in...
The first hospital that I had been treated at, I mean, I was born at it, ultimately looked me in the face and said, there's nothing else we can do.
Wow.
You're just a complicated case. And that's what I got told my entire life.
Yeah.
We focus on the negative, and you have to focus on the positive of getting over that ledge.
Yes.
So I've realized that, you know, I'm finding my way back into sports. I'm starting to have conversations with so many people, you know, like yourself. And I told myself at a coffee shop in Cincinnati, I was, you know, reconnecting with life and everything. And I told people, I'm going to be on podcasts. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I was like, I'm telling them, and I'm going. But my brain knew, because finally it wasn't seizing, you know?
My name is Kelly Schaefer, and once upon a time, I was a CPA, bank auditor, professional accountant.
Wow.
But now, I am doing my best as far as being an epilepsy ambassador and have been disabled for about 1.5 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw the writing on the wall.
What do you mean by that?
I was having a hard time remembering anything that I was doing, like as far as the assignments that I was working on, because public accounting, you're supposed to be able to work like 60 hours a week, you know? I was struggling with doing things that first years had, and I've been in the business doing something as far as auditing goes and numbers and all of that stuff for 15 years, and I could barely get through a day. The writing on the wall was, I had a conversation with a bank president, was telling him like, hey, you did this, this, and this, and we need to change it. Forgot I had that conversation.
Oh no.
And then, you know, like called him again, and that wasn't the best audit,
like
by the way.
Of all the conversations your brain's gonna forget, right? Just the one with the bank president, no biggie.
Right. Hey, by the way, I forgot I had this conversation with you.
Right. But you're not important, so it doesn't matter.
No. You know, so stuff like that. Like I knew it was it was on its way, but didn't realize like how it was going to be.
Sure.
So,
yeah, totally. Well, I feel like that's just like our epilepsy world, right? We're just like, we know something's going to happen. We don't know how it's going to go. I guess that's life, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like having only had epilepsy like less than 10 years, I'm like, I know the difference between living as an adult with it and without it. And it's like, everything's just a little more magnified like that.
Likewise. I'm a decade in myself, so.
Yeah. So you're also relatively new. And your epilepsy started in a way that I have never heard of before. And I was hoping you could share with us.
Oh, totally. So I had a grand mal seizure when I was 36 weeks and 6 days pregnant. So right at the cusp of being full term. And it was because our body was shutting down. We didn't catch it. You normally would call it preeclampsia, but it was full-blown eclampsia. My body was shutting down. I had a grand mal seizure. And thank God my dog alerted my ex-husband. And he, came to our rescue. And so...
How did he alert your husband?
She just started barking like crazy because here's mom, just shaking and just, foaming, like anything that you could think of when it comes to a really bad grand mal.
And so what happened from there?
So we got taken to the hospital, emergency C-section. Kiddo was in NICU for a day just because of the drugs. Okay. So thankfully it was, he was totally fine.
Oh, good.
Just because of everything that mom was pumped full of. Me, on the other hand, I was in ICU for 6 days.
Oh my goodness.
Didn't really even know what was going on when I woke up. It took a really long time. It took me 6 months to recover. Speech, occupational therapy, all sorts of things just from the seizure itself and the eclampsia. But unfortunately, 3 months later, I had a TBI. Hit my head pretty bad. Oh. And that's when the regular seizures started. I started having vocal aware seizures, just little, no idea what the fuck was going on.
Totally.
On a regular daily basis, multiple times a day.
I'm so sorry.
But I didn't know,
No, that's the thing, is you don't know. Yeah. Even like for me, like I was having, I started having auras. Yeah. I thought I was just remembering dreams. Yeah. Because it's like this, they classify them as deja vu or something. And so and that's how my seizures start. So I can't imagine just not having context. Like I had the context and you didn't. Yeah. And that's insane. Oh, God.
It took 2+ years to get diagnosis because they thought it was just, here's mom, she is, stressed. And of course, during all
They
of that.
did not blame it on stress.
Oh, yeah.
That happens to women all the time.
So, yeah, like here's single mom, just divorced, moved back home. Like, oh, it's stress. Like, it's totally just stress.
Yeah.
Your first EEG shows nothing. Like,
none of those EEGs show shit.
Yeah. What the fuck? It's a
and that's the thing is like that's the story for so many people too. Is like, and even neurologists will joke. They're like you'll be on an EEG for 7 days. Yeah. And then you're taken off, and day 8 you have a seizure. It's like they those motherfuckers just pop up when no electrodes are on your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh God.
What is one thing you wish more people knew about epilepsy?
That it does really impact us every single day. And it's not bullshit. Like, it took so long just to get someone to understand that the amount of crap I was going through on a daily basis, and multiple jobs were like, no, you suck at your job because you're forgetting X, Y, Z, or you're too slow. But it's because I've been having seizures and I need that support.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't think people understand is how hard we work to stay like even in this moment, to stay present. Because
definitely.
not necessarily from a seizure, but from medication side effects that we all know cognitively slow us down.
Yeah.
And so it's like for us to it's constantly monitoring, constantly assessing every situation. Like, how prone am I to have a seizure right now? What can I do? What should I not do? I think that's a really great point that it's all day.
Exactly. Like, just having I've had to start going back to speech and OT. Just those 2 hours of work. Like, I have to go home and take a nap. The next day, I'm really not supposed to be doing anything.
Yeah.
Thankfully, thank God, my husband, who is been my best friend for 2 decades.
Aww.
He knew me way before any of this shit. He knew me way before ex-husband.
That's huge.
This is my person, and has always been my person.
That's huge because a lot of people don't last from before and after.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he knew you in both.
He knew both sides.
And still, that just says a lot about your relationship, him and you two. That's awesome. Shout out to James. James, you fucking rock. We love you.
Yeah.
I'll also love your tattoos.
Oh,
do you mind if we zoom in on your medical alert one?
For sure.
Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, Cal has her medical alert tattooed on her, which is so fucking cool. Yeah. And I am maybe found my solution to forgetting my medical alert bracelet.
Oh, totally. Oh, I'm going to put my next time that I go to the tattoo convention, I've decided I'm going to make little lines and I don't know if it's going to be a squirrel or whatever, but to-do list. Shit so to write, a space to write my shit down.
Yes. That's brilliant. Because then you can't lose a Post-it. You don't, it's not a note you forgot that you made. That's
all
brilliant.
I need is a permanent marker and I'm set.
My name is Matthew Summerfield. I'm a person with epilepsy, and I am also a neuroscience PhD student at the University of Iowa.
So I don't know which is more impressive because both those titles are dope.
Are you?
I mean, kind of, right? That's what we have to tell ourselves about epilepsy anyway. So I want to talk to you about your research because it focuses mostly on SUDEP.
Yes.
And that is so important. So if you could tell us a little bit about that and what's going on at University of Iowa and what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So SUDEP, just a quick explanation, sudden unexpected death in epilepsy, definition of exclusion. Someone has a seizure, they're found dead. Why, we don't know.
Isn't that just so nuts?
I know. The field's now really gone towards one cause to okay, maybe it's several causes that all eventually lead up to an apex that causes the terminal event.
Oh, I hate to use this term, but I can't think of anything else, perfect storm sort of situation.
Yeah. No, I've read articles that have that and this is all to say that there is a perfect storm because all things really have to go wrong to have a SUDEP event. But specifically in my lab, we look at time of day, circadian rhythm, sleep-wake differences in seizures and seizure frequency, as well as the role of serotonin and the impairment seizures cause on serotonin neurons that can contribute to the mechanism of SUDEP. Yeah.
Okay, so can you dive into that a little bit more? Because like I refer to serotonin all the time, being like, "Oh, George gives me serotonin." You know, I don't even know if that's accurate, but like
kind of is.
Okay, just like help us remind us what serotonin is and how that could affect the seizure or the SUDEP.
Serotonin is involved with a lot of things. And where it relates to my work is it's involved in something called chemosensitivity. So that's our body's ability to detect chemicals. Specifically, serotonin is intrinsically sensitive in responding to CO2. CO2 is one of the factors that causes us to increase our respiration and also wake up from sleep.
Sure.
So like if you're in the prone position and you're asleep, you're going to have an increased CO2 breathing in because you're face down in a pillow or you're bedding. Those serotonin neurons will fire and you might wake up, you might even just roll over into a better position and continue sleeping.
Okay.
But for SUDEP victims, a majority of them are found in the prone position. And, researchers kind of scratch their head and like, okay, so they're in the postictal state, you're unconscious, lower level of conscious at best, you're not responsive to stimuli, touch, voice commands, and in this case to what we call noxious stimuli or like painful stimuli like CO2 that you would normally increase your respiration to or wake up to.
And like kind of cause you to roll over or turn on your side like you were saying in normal circumstances.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And so my specific focus in our big lab is, I was like, well, what did the activity of those serotonin neurons look like before, during, and after a seizure in several different models?
Okay.
And then from that's the basic science thing. So we talk about...
I love how that's basic and I'm still struggling to follow along.
I know.
But this is not because of you. This is very interesting. It's just that my brain doesn't do science very well.
We always talk about, we need to bridge the gap between bench top to bedside. Physician says, I want to decrease your seizure frequency, therefore every aspect of life goes up. Awesome. They're more involved with the patient. But yeah, that scientist, as we're probably known to be, not so social. We like to listen. We like to work long hours. We like to grind away in the lab, put on headphones, listen to a podcast or something, and stick to what we're good at. Sometimes socialization isn't our strong suit.
I've never heard that.
But what I want to end by saying, both of those training situations, you're being trained to be a professional in what you do, but we're lacking the aspect of being able to communicate what we do, not only to physicians but also to the patients. It's the aspect of, okay, well, I can effectively communicate my work to my colleague because more or less we study the same thing. I can use the same terminology. I don't have to break down things. I think it's absolutely necessary for both physicians in training and scientists in training to have some sort of program required, like involvement in whatever they study for reaching out to that community to learn how to effectively communicate. Like if you're in Parkinson's lab and you're researching Parkinson's, know about the whole Parkinson's patients, not just what we know about Parkinson's, which is like degradation of dopaminergic neurons. It's like, okay, that's what's happening in the brain, but what's happening to the person, right? And what have they gone through? I'm saying this and I'm just going on and on because I've lived with epilepsy, so I know what it's like. I met with other people, and now I'm in the lab, and I'm like, we're focused on the work, right? But seizures is just one aspect. Like that's just one aspect of epilepsy. How we could better communicate our work so that the patients feel included in what we're doing, and they feel value of what I'm researching. that comes with being able to translate your work.
Yeah, and that is the problem. And I think like by identifying it, like you are right now, is that's getting the ball rolling, right?
Yeah,
starting the conversation.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
But I do want to ask you about your epilepsy journey. So when were you diagnosed and where are you at now?
I was diagnosed back in February of 2011 when I was 11 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. And probably similar to many other people's stories and what I've heard from my communications with other people with epilepsy, they were told not to talk about it. And so I did the opposite, obviously.
No way. That's so dope.
Can I shamelessly plug my TED Talk about...
Hell yes.
Watch my TED Talk. Why your community needs to be epilepsy safe. And so I pretty much talk about that in my experience. But and
then we'll put the link to that in the episode description so people can check it out. Yeah,
and so like through my journey, I come from an area that's, it's a town, right? It's not a booming metropolis by any means. So I had to go to U of M for treatment, made some solid grounds, failed some medications, had more seizures, than I could probably count. And then, I saw an epileptologist, got kind of more precise treatment. He kind of leveled like, hey, when this doesn't work, we're going to try this. When this doesn't work, we're going to try this. When this doesn't work, we're going to try this. Oh, excellent.
Because giving you okay, we're going to try this. If it doesn't work, we've got a plan.
Yeah.
That is a huge plus for any doctor. Yeah.
And it made me feel like validated. Like he saw me just as his most important patient at that moment. Right. Wow. And that was huge.
Yeah.
And also I was 16 when I saw him. He actually brought up SUDEP. And so that was 5 years without knowing what SUDEP was. Yeah. And we're like, wait, I can die from this?
Right, yeah.
But, long story short, a lot of changes in medication. Now I'm on like the highest amount of, an addition of, seems to be working, we're
gonna knock on wood, both of us.
Yeah, yep, so haven't really had any issues in quite some time. I'm really blessed to have that.
That is awesome. Yeah. That is so great.
I'm Amanda Abel, and I am a research coordinator at the KCNT1 Epilepsy Foundation. And more importantly, I'm a mom of 2 daughters with rare epilepsy.
I mean, 2 daughters with the same type of epilepsy. Can you tell us, what that looks like, what that's about? Because I know, I'm guilty of being ignorant too about, there's so many types of rare epilepsies, but that's not an excuse. If you could tell us about it and like how they're doing and what your life looks like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I was pregnant with my 5th child, and there were some strange things that had happened in that pregnancy that hadn't happened in my other pregnancies. And then she was born early.
Would you mind sharing what those strange things were? Yeah.
So I had polyhydramnios, which means too much amniotic fluid.
Okay.
So when you go in and you have your well baby checks, they make sure that you're growing the right amount of fluid. I had, way too much. So at 30 weeks, I measured 40 weeks. The amniotic fluid wasn't healthy. It didn't look right. Okay. So the medical team was like, you need to go really quickly to the hospital. We had her within a few hours. She was a healthy weight, and they said she would just be in the NICU to grow and gain weight.
Okay.
For the next month.
Oh, wow.
She did learn how to breastfeed, and we were there constantly with her. We took her home from the hospital at about the right time, and they just said she was totally perfect, and everything was great. Well, a couple days after getting home, her temperature tanked, like really low temperature, and she stopped eating. So we took her back into the doctor. Obviously, we were very concerned. I remember seeing some little interesting tics with her head and bringing it up to the neonatologist and saying, what could that be? Yeah. And they said, a lot of these newborn babies have acid reflux, and it's really painful. So she's probably just like turning her head and having acid reflux. As time went on, over days and a few weeks, I realized like, this is not right. I am a nurse and I have seen seizures, and I think that maybe something is like, maybe she is having seizures.
Wow.
So the home care nurse had weighed her and said, are you ready to be discharged? She's gaining weight. And I said, no, I'm ready to go see my doctor. She's having seizures.
Can we just pause, because that's so amazing that you were like, just that advocacy, just be like, are you ready to be nope, we're not being discharged. I know what's going on here. Like, that's just I just want to applaud you for it. And I think that takes so much courage and bravery.
Thank you.
And something that we all like need to lean into a little bit more. So I just really admire that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
At our local hospital in Omaha, we did not have a level 4 epilepsy center yet, and they were unable to stop her seizures with everything. After 1 month of being in our local hospital, I looked at the neurologist and I said, please send us to the local, or the nearest level 4 epilepsy center, because you guys aren't able to meet our needs anymore.
Right.
And that night she got us a bed in a Kansas City at Children's Mercy Hospital. Okay. That is at the point where our epileptologist, who was wonderful, really cut it pretty straight with us and said, this is a catastrophic type of epilepsy. I'm pretty sure it's a channelopathy. I'm not sure which one yet. And we're going to send you home, and we would like you to consider going home on hospice, because we don't think there's anything that we can do, and you need to just enjoy her for as long as you can. So we took her home. We drove back to Omaha and started one day into the next, and pretty soon she turned 1 year old and 2 years old and 3, and by God's grace, she's going to be turning 9 this month.
Wow.
She still has seizures every hour. I would say she's baseline 0 to 3 an hour. And she functions developmentally like a newborn. So really not a lot of development.
Yeah.
But we take so much joy and delight as a family in caring for her. And the reason that I'm here being a research ambassador is because I don't want another mom to go home from the hospital being told there's nothing that we can do for your child.
Yeah.
And so being able to take my role as a nurse and a mom and put those things together, I feel so privileged that I can work at the KCNT1 Epilepsy Foundation and maybe move that a little bit, push the needle a little bit.
So I am here with Dr. Jackie French, who is, among many things, a neurologist at NYU, but you have so many roles in the epilepsy community, I can't even keep track of them. But today I want to talk about why we're here, which is the Research Ambassador Program of Epilepsy Foundation of America, which I understand you are responsible for. And the amazing people that I have met, I'm just like so astounded by this whole program, and I'm just so curious as to what made you start it, what's the why that you started it, and just the integration of it, and how we got all these amazing folks here all in one room.
Yeah. Well, I guess that my why has to start with jealousy, because there are like programs, I'm a neurologist first, right? And I look around the world and I started to see these programs in the Parkinson's field, in the ALS field, where they were training patients on research. Research is my jam.
Yeah, oh, I know.
So, and clinical trials are my jam.
Yeah.
And it is so obvious to me that patients or people with lived experience have a part of that, are a part of that. And, I've spent my entire life explaining to people about research and why they might want to consider being enrolled in a trial.
Sure.
I've seen how people understand and don't understand about research, how people make, people are afraid of research in some cases. People say to me sometimes, I don't want to be a guinea pig, which, I completely get.
Yeah.
But, it's a little bit of a, misunderstanding of what the whole process is. And when you feel like research is for you, then you have a whole different perspective on it. That's one thing. And, probably, what I like to hear the most is when people understand, when they get enrolled in a clinical trial, that they are part of something bigger, and that their participation in that trial is actually could lead to a new therapy for millions of people, and that they are they are heroes.
Yeah.
They're going into the trial and they are heroes. They might help themselves, but they also might help so many other people. And I see people being empowered by that. And then, I interact with the FDA, and the FDA doesn't want to hear what I have to say. They want to hear what you have to say. They truly do,
That's from like so far outside of that world that just feels like not realistic. But obviously I believe you because like it's coming from you. But like when you say the FDA wants to know what I want to hear, I'm like, no, they don't.
They absolutely do. Every year we have this program called the Research Roundtable where we bring sort of issues with drug development and discuss them with all of the sponsors of trials and investigators. But the people with epilepsy, they make the biggest difference. They come to the meeting and they speak their truth, and it makes a huge difference. So I'm going to give you one example.
Please, yeah.
This year we're going to be talking about people being on placebo, right? And this is a good example of why we need patients involved. And even I need to understand what people are thinking. So, when we invite people to be in a trial, it is, people always say, well, it's add-on. So, people are already on standard therapy.
Right.
So therefore, when you randomize them to placebo, you're not really randomizing them to placebo. You're, adding on either a drug, which is a good thing, or you're not adding on a drug, in which case they're still on standard therapy. Right? But the standard therapy then is not going to change for usually 6 months because you have to have a prospective baseline and then you have to have the time when you might be on placebo. That is up to 6 months. And if you have treatment-resistant epilepsy, if I'm your doctor, I'm not going to sit there and watch you seize for 6 months without doing anything about it. Right? So it's actually not standard therapy. Right? But people don't understand that. And if they did, would they be okay with that?
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that's the biggest question, right? Is like, are you okay with it? Because even, trying a new drug, even adding on one that's not part of a clinical trial is an exhausting process, right? And so I think then like being like, well, there's this one that you might be getting, you might not be getting, and that I think, and that is very daunting, right? But then to add on, this could be helping so many people, I think is really probably the strongest incentive from my perspective anyway, because like, it's so like I have to plan when I am adding on a drug, unless I'm in a very terrible situation where it's just like there's no plan, you need to add this drug on, like with just having seizure clusters and stuff. But I think to your original point of that being in a trial can actually help millions of people is like this, I don't know, for me, like the strongest reason to do it.
It's giving, I see that epilepsy, and I hear it, and I heard it last night, epilepsy takes power away from people. It takes away their personal autonomy and power. And if you pose it right, this gives people power back. It's like something that I can do. I don't need to be rich. I don't need to, be a doctor. I don't need to be a scientist. And yet I can be part of this process and I can give back and I can make a difference.
With sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
And I think that's the thing too. It's like giving back often requires that sacrifice. And this is like a sacrifice of your body, a sacrifice of your mind, because you just don't know what's going to happen. Right. But the potential outcome though is so strong. Like I have asked my doctor so many times, like, any clinical trials? And she's like, none for you right now, but I think that it's just such, like you said, I love that. I'm going to steal that, just taking a little bit of power back, by making a difference in this world for hopefully you and hopefully other people too.
Absolutely.
It's so cool.
Absolutely.
So
and
cool.
but all of these complex issues in regards to trying to, get the data, the last thing we want is not to do a trial that gives an interpretable answer, right? So you need that control group, but how can you do it without putting people at risk, without, you know, because, you know, if I were to tell you right now that a colleague of mine did a study many years ago where he looked at all the people who got the active drug and all the people who were on the placebo arm, and the people who were randomized to the placebo arm had a 6-fold higher risk of dying of SUDEP.
Oh my goodness.
And all of the drugs that were in that analysis are now approved drugs. So it's not like they're not available for people, right? So we know that adding drugs does help reduce the risk. So not adding drugs, you know, so these are the things. We need new drugs. We need to do these trials. How can we do them, keep people safe?
Yes, totally.
And still get an interpretable answer. It is complicated. And I need everybody's brains and everybody's thoughts and everybody's help to work these things out.
Sure. And is that what this weekend is about?
It's preparing people to be involved in answering these questions, right? You can't, you know, I think Richard Bedlack, who gave a talk this morning, who does this in the ALS space, amazing guy. And he said, you know, if you asked me, you know, about my circuit breaker, you know, I couldn't like tell you thing one about how to fix the circuit breaker, right? So I need to go take a course and understand what a circuit breaker is, what it does, how it works, and then maybe I can figure out a better way to make a circuit breaker. You know? And that's what this weekend is about, is it's getting the basics there so that then we can dive into the more really thorny, complex problems. And, you know, there are so many, you know, like I was listening to Richard Bedlack this morning and everything that they've done in ALS. And I was like, oh yeah, we need to do that, and we need to do that, and we need to do that. But you know, like
we're so behind.
we you know, we're starting on the path. You know, we understand that, and there's like such a long way to go.
The research they're doing is just mind blowing, and then connecting them to patients. So like we know not just patients, but advocates and people that can then go out and like, you know, scream it from the mountaintops and share it with their community and, you know, just be like, this is what's happening. And like, that's how great movements start.
You're building your army, right?
That's why it's called boot camp?
That's exactly right.
I love it.
And the bigger your army is, the more chance that each of those people is going to go out and solve a little bit of this problem or have an innovation, have an idea that then starts something else. You know, Richard was saying this morning that 2 of the people in the first class for ALS were the ones that thought of the ice bucket challenge, and I think they raised $200 million for research.
Yeah, they did real well that summer. I mean, it makes so much more sense now that it was like a research ambassador program, right? And it was like people who are on the ground in all different ways coming up with untraditional marketing tactics.
You know, the more people that are trained and understand the benefit of research and why we're doing it, the more we're going to get people who are going to advocate for funding for research, talk to Congress about funding, you know, be involved in the development of clinical trials, say what clinical trials and clinical research is meaningful to us. I mean, so many different things.
So Stacey, could you tell me a little bit about your epilepsy, like how long you've been living with epilepsy?
I'm 50 years old, so I've been living with it for over, I would estimate, 45 years.
Wow. And when were you diagnosed with it?
What happened is I was having a seizure. Nobody really didn't know, but what really brought it to their attention is one day I was on the school bus and I didn't show up home. What happened was I had a seizure and I passed out in the back of the bus.
No, oh my gosh.
And the bus driver knew my family. He knew he was picked up, so he came and brought me back to my grandmother's house.
Oh, wow. God bless that bus driver. Where are you at now with your epilepsy?
It took me over decades to find out actually what was the cause of my seizures, the type of seizures, and the best treatment.
Okay.
So in 2006, 7, I started having seizures real bad. It was affecting my work and everything. I was raising a child and going to school. I was doing all that while having seizures. Just putting it aside.
Yeah.
But I got to the point where I said, just take my brain out. So
I feel like we all get to that point where like I just whatever we have to do.
In South Carolina, we don't have that mentally specialist. That's what I really want to talk about. So I had to go to the Medical College of Georgia. And after doing a lot of testing and, health-wise, they found out that I have a chemical imbalance in the brain. And my best treatment being that there was no area in which my seizures were coming from, the best treatment for me was the vascular nerve stimulator, as well as a combination of medications.
Okay.
But the reason why I like being a research ambassador at this time, because my seizures have been drug resistance. I have taken over 10 medications. And even with the stimulator, I still can have a seizure. The battery can go dead at any time.
Oh my gosh.
At any time, but this is the best treatment for me.
And how was your seizure frequency compared like before to after with the vagus nerve stimulator?
When I got more into my 30s, that's when I started having more seizures.
Okay.
And that is something idiotic that nobody knew that, but females are more associated with their hormones that have seizures.
Totally.
So around the time of my menstrual, before, during, or after, I would have seizures.
Yeah.
That was a combination, but we still didn't know how to solve that problem because that's something that you go through naturally. I was taking over like almost close to 5,000 milligrams of medication at one time and had the stimulator. Epilepsy is also, it causes a mental effect. So I have had 3 nervous breakdowns. It causes a mental burden on you as well. I take my medicine at a certain time of the day. I'm in bed by a certain time. So I'm trying to, but
that routine, I feel like for me anyway, with my seizures is key. Getting to bed at a certain time, waking up at a certain time, having a more structured lifestyle. My seizure frequency seems to decrease.
And also my perimenopause has stepped in because I wasn't line dancing as much, as walking as much. So it's like
you line dance?
Oh, y'all want to find out something? Y'all talking to the right person right here. I love line dancing. And I tell people, y'all just got to think about line dance. There's a line dance off of practically every song. Oh, excuse me.
Really?
Yes. A lot of songs, there's line dances in it, and I love line dancing.
Okay, some point this weekend you got to teach me.
Oh, I'll teach you an easy one. I'll teach you an easy one. Yeah, I'll teach you.
Can you tell? I like that you say easy because you can just tell I am not coordinated.
It's easy. It's easy. So you're just going to have to make sure me and you get together.
Yes,
okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Make this happen.
Okay.
So what made you want to be a research ambassador?
I am a part of this group. A nonprofit group called Up to Me of Epilepsy.
Oh, Epitome of Epilepsy with Janvan. Yes. Gosh, I love her.
When I met her, it changed me totally. I didn't know I was advocating. It felt good to be around people who were going through the same situations with you. I don't have a big physical circle, but when we get on Zoom support, we're like we're like family, So I'm with Javon, and she nominated me because she said, "Stacey, you're advocating a lot. You do a lot of research. You do this, and you don't mind talking to people. And when you get on here, you uplift us and everything." And she nominated me, and I applied, and here I am.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because I love how you're calling out the things that need to be changed, because that's like the first step, right?
Because there's one thing I really want to address right now, because I'm on, it's real new. Some insurances would not cover it. I'm on disability, and my United Health would not cover it, but only a month worth of it. So what I had to do,
month of seizure medication,
because I take twice as much, being that the type I have intractable seizures. That mean you taking probably more medication and you got more things going on.
Right.
So I was having anxiety attacks. I didn't know I was about to run out of my medication. So what I had to do was I had to think. I said, let me go call the top dog. I was approved for assistance. The amount I take is worth $3,000 a month. Through them, I have my medications for free.
Wow.
the whole entire
That's
year.
Amazing.
And if I didn't know some of the things I know now, I wouldn't have taken it upon them. But I do a lot of research on my own, and I actually help a young guy, get on the best treatment for his seizures. He just got the the new one.
Yeah.
But I helped him get into that. So I don't mind helping anybody out.
I'm just so impressed with you taking that initiative and fighting, because fighting is one of the hardest parts, right? Because so many times, like you said, you just want your brain out. You just want to be done.
Yeah.
And then you fought and you're like, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to find a place to get this done. And now you're helping other people do the same.
Yes, I know. And yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And you're asking about medications, I realized that I have found out that the insurance company, they want to support more the generic than the brand names. I want to come in there and try to get people help with things like that because I'm on disability. You only get no offense, I only get $1,200 worth. So how I'm going to pay $3,000 for medication? Right. So even with the help of disability, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So I would like to reach out and help as many people as I can. And then in addition to that, I wanted to focus out to more about the mental state of mind it puts on it, because other things occurred in my life that caused the mental breakdown, but the epilepsy was there, and that's something you can get rid of talking and reading about this, but when you have to live in something and carry on, because I can have a seizure at any time. That's what I tell people. I can have a seizure at any time. I say 30 seconds for you is nothing, but 30 seconds for me having a seizure, it changes my whole day.
Yeah, and the days that follow, and the months that follow.
I'm trying not to think about it, but if I have one, I make sure, I always examine what my triggers are, what I've been doing that day, or what could have caused it. That's what I'm doing. And just like I said, the doctors didn't know what to do about our women's hormonal thing, because I had to talk to some males and let them know, y'all cannot grow them, but most women, they cannot. It's something that we go through in life.
Totally.
So I went and got on estrogen. My doctors don't agree about it, but I'm gonna say, fuck y'all. I gotta take care of myself.
Absolutely.
I have the seizures. You don't have to go through this. Because when they were saying, I don't think so, I was like, I gotta take care of myself.
Yeah, 100%.
My name is Bridget Drummy, and I am a clinical research coordinator at Dana-Farber.
Bridget, I remember that you've had epilepsy since you were 3, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so what is your status like now? How are things looking with your epilepsy?
Yeah, so I'm on medication. My seizures are pretty well controlled, but I have usually 1 or 2 about once a month. They're petite mal, so luckily I don't go unconscious or anything like that, but I still do have seizures fairly regularly.
Yeah, I feel ya. You're always hoping that the answer can be like, I've been seizure-free since I was 5. It's like, no, that's not it. Even though neither of us can say things like that, you can say something I certainly can't, which is that you helped raise $13 million for the CDC to do school safety seizure training, right? Did I get that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So, okay, tell me about I don't know anyone who's raised $13 million. So can you tell me about this?
Yeah, so with the Epilepsy Foundation of New England, myself and other advocates in the state of Massachusetts met with the staff members of Elizabeth Warren's team and Richie Neal's team. So they're both federal, representatives for Massachusetts in Congress. And there was a bill at the time that was looking to raise $13 million for the CDC, just so that they could provide services to really teach school staff members about seizure first aid and just kind of awareness about epilepsy, because oftentimes they aren't taught those things.
Well, Congratulations. It's absolutely amazing. So what is it that makes you want to be a research ambassador with Epilepsy Foundation of America?
Yeah, so like I said before, I've had epilepsy almost my entire life. And so it's always been a passion of mine to, just improve the care of people with epilepsy, spread awareness, just make people's lives better. And then I also, just for work, I'm in the research realm, and I thought, what a great opportunity to combine those skills with something that I'm really passionate about.
If you could pick one of the most important things that you wish more people knew about epilepsy, what would it be?
Epilepsy it comes in so many shapes and forms. You can't really look at someone and be like, oh, they have epilepsy, but it is out there, and I think it's, important that the public just learns more about what it is and how it affects people and what they can do to help if they're, someone were to have a seizure. And I mean, 1 in 26 people have epilepsy, and 1 in 10 will have a seizure in their lifetime. So it's pretty likely that will happen.
Yeah, it's just another way to be prepared just as a regular human.
My name's Jamie Block. My first title is a mom, and my work title is a nurse practitioner.
I also understand you're the mom of 2 boys with epilepsy. Is that right?
That is correct. I have an 8-year-old boy and a 10-year-old boy. My 10-year-old was diagnosed at the age of 4, and then my 8-year-old was just diagnosed of January 2025.
Does being a nurse, do you feel help with caretaking or?
Oh my gosh, yes. I say on a daily basis that I don't know how people that don't know the medical language navigate the medically complicated world of epilepsy and being able to advocate for themselves or their children.
Mm-hmm.
Me having some of that knowledge of medicine helps me tremendously in being able to get them the care that they need and they deserve.
Yeah, what advice would you give to, caretakers who don't know the medical field?
A huge help is neurology offices having nurse practitioners. I hate to say it, but yes, the nurse practitioner mindset is just so much more holistic and whole body, whole patient centered. They are able to really explain things in a way that you understand. Mm-hmm. The other thing I would suggest is go to your local foundation, because they can translate things tremendously, or have somebody in the pipeline that can.
That's such a good point, because we're always fighting to get information and the right information. And I understand you have had some difficulties with misinformation. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, I think my main difficulty has been with the kids starting school. The misinformation in the education world, and how difficult it's been in getting the correct assistance in place for my child's learning, and getting him the assistance that he needs to correctly learn in a way that he needs to. I've had to email laws, I've had to push, I've had to just explain in different ways that epilepsy is not just seizures, because that's what everybody thinks. They think epilepsy is seizures. It is not just seizures. It is a whole body disease. Yeah. It affects everything about your life. And until they understand that, then they don't think that they should give assistance to kids with epilepsy. It took me 3 years to get for my oldest son as an IEP.
No, it took you 3 years.
It took me 3 years to get an IEP for my son. And the main thing was because epilepsy is not actually listed on the law under needs for IEP. It's under an other health illness, and that's why it took that long, because I had to jump through hoops to just be able to prove that this is affecting his learning.
So what is something that you wish more people knew about epilepsy?
I think going back to the fact that epilepsy is not just seizures. That is my biggest soapbox, is that even on an intake in the hospital, the nurses and physicians will ask me, oh, your child has seizures. No, my child doesn't always have seizures, but he does have epilepsy, and that still affects him in a bunch of different ways. Yeah. And so I think that's my biggest goal, is to reach out to people and tell everybody that it's not just seizures. It's an entire body disease.
I'm Dr. Olivia Hoffman. I'm a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I research epilepsy.
Yes, you happen to be one of my favorite researchers of all time, as I'm always fangirling over you and telling other people I'm fangirling over you, and I can't wait to talk about the research that you're doing. But before we get into that, what I think is so interesting is that you actually had epilepsy when you were a kid.
Yeah, I did. I don't remember a ton of it because I wasn't conscious during the seizures.
Yeah, it's like we never remember the seizures, right? Yeah.
I was also very young. I think I was around like 4 or 5 when I had my first one, and actually my mom thought I just wasn't listening. So I had.
That always happens with absence seizures.
Yeah, I would just turn my head to the left, and she couldn't reach me for a while. And finally, she realized that like I really. Wasn't reachable. Like, it's not that I was not listening. And so I ended up going to get evaluated. They tried me on a couple medications. I ended up getting on one that worked, and I was weaned off of it around the age of like 7 or 8.
Wow, that is so awesome.
Yeah, and I've been mostly seizure-free since. I had one scare, actually, like back in 2022 when I was put on Wellbutrin. And that's an antidepressant. It built up in my system over 2 weeks, and then I collapsed in the shower. It turns out it lowers the seizure threshold. It just happened. Like, I didn't expect it to happen, but I think it's like important to report. And honestly, the ER was like, it was a syncopal episode, you know, with the high heart rate, low blood pressure, or whatever, whichever way it goes. And I was like, and my partner was like, no, I saw it. I was there with her, and she was convulsing. She's like, that's not a syncopal episode. Yeah. She's like, I work with people who have epilepsy. Like it wasn't a heart rate thing.
Yeah, it's so amazing how much a witness is necessary for proving you had a seizure. Like, if your partner hadn't been there, it would just be like your word against their, you know, like there's nothing to do.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I was ready to let it go, and she was like, no, which I love about her.
I like that. That's a great partner right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so tell us about this amazing research that you are doing at the University of Madison.
So one of the cool things that we can do in epilepsy is, you know, take a part of the brain out, isolate each of the cells, and then measure the gene levels in every single one of them. So like 100,000 cells, we can get the gene levels in every single one, and then find out, you know, what's going on in neurons, what's going on in the immune cells in the brain. And these are the sorts of techniques that we use to understand what might be going wrong in chronic epilepsy, which is what we call it, when our animals are actively having seizures. And one thing we noticed was this inflammatory pathway, you know, the thing that happens when you get a cut, except we don't like when that happens in the brain. The brain does not like inflammation. You know, it's great for wound healing.
Band-Aids are a little bit tougher in there. Yeah.
I know, yeah, it's hard to get them in there. Go through the ear, maybe? No, so we noticed this, that an inflammation was up in these animals, and then we went and referenced a data set published by another group that was looking at human temporal lobectomy samples. So these are folks who, you know, are having all these seizures, and they're having so many, no drugs are working, that they had to go get brain surgery. And we noticed that the same pathway, this inflammatory pathway, was activated in them too. And so instead of trying to prevent epilepsy by maybe giving the mice this drug proactively, we gave it to them after they'd already developed seizures, and we found that it suppressed seizures while they were receiving the drug. But then the crazy part is we took it away, and the seizures stayed down out to 2 months after the final dose.
So off the medication.
Off the medication, 100%. This drug leaves the system within 24 hours. That was crazy. Another crazy part, you know, a lot of folks with epilepsy, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes whether it's the seizures or the meds, but one thing we do know is that, like, cognitive decline and just, like, brain fog, super common for folks who deal with this, because the brain doesn't like a bunch of, like, electrical activity and all that inflammation. But we found that this drug rescued, like, memory for these animals, and also when we took the drug away, memory stayed online.
What? So like it helps you remember things. Oh my God, this is so cool. This is just so groundbreaking. And like, I know, you and your team have really suffered from the cuts, made to research funding. And this is something that I've been talking about for almost a year. I just really want to help in any way I can, because this research is so important to people with epilepsy. Because if you can take someone off a medication and they're still not having seizures.
But it is really exciting, and we're trying to. It's weird because we're like a basic science lab. We didn't set out to find this drug. We set out to understand like mechanisms of epilepsy and then hand it off. But now we're sitting here with this awesome potential therapy, and so it's like we don't want to let it go until we know it's in good hands.
Yeah, totally. No, and I appreciate that a lot. But I'm also like, make it happen, because I would like to try this.
Working on it. And well, if you keep doing the work that you're doing, like elevating like all of the voices of like not only researchers but people who have lived experience with epilepsy, maybe we'll get somewhere.
Yes, I love that.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Dolan, and I'm a research ambassador for the Epilepsy Foundation class of 2026.
Oh yeah, I love it. And Rebecca, I understand you had a daughter with epilepsy who, I'm so sorry, you lost to SUDEP. I have no words other than I'm so sorry. And is there something that you wish people knew more about when it comes to SUDEP that you think would be helpful in this space?
Well, I would wish that more people knew that it's a thing. It happens. And I think that it happens even for people who are doing everything they can to deal with their seizures and their epilepsy effectively. My daughter was taking her medicine. She had a seizure response dog. She had a VNS. She took care of her health and her diet and her sleep, but it happened anyway. And so I would like everyone, especially in the epilepsy world, to know that it's something that can happen and that people should be aware of. And I wish more doctors would share the possibility that this might happen with patients and with their caregivers.
I'm Allison Zetterquist. I'm at this conference because I'm a research ambassador for the Epilepsy Foundation of America, and I'm also the chair of the board of directors of the Epilepsy Foundation New England, and I have epilepsy. I was diagnosed in 1976. I was 18. It was while classes were changing in high school. Probably had a non-tonic-clonic seizure when I was 12, but it was diagnosed as psychiatric instead.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, because I feel like I hear that story so much.
Oh yeah.
People are like, I was probably having them before.
Yeah, it wasn't your garden variety tonic-clonic seizure, and so I had one, and sometimes we feel, at least I feel, as though the nation, for the most part, is clueless about epilepsy, and for all the reasons many of your guests have said. Back in '76, we were really clueless, and I was particularly clueless. And so when I found out, I woke up in the hospital, I found out that I had epilepsy. It was like this overwhelming no that came over me. And in my particular case, it like automatically made me feel less than everyone else. I think I knew of one person who had epilepsy because he had also had a seizure at my school, but I didn't really know him. I felt like the other, as people talk about it. And that lasted 32 years.
Yeah.
Navigating life was tough. I had a very productive life. People couldn't see what it was what I was going through on the inside. I went to college, I went into publishing, whatnot. I grew, but I still kind of felt like the other. It was really strange. So when I went through my midlife crisis, basically when I turned 50, I suddenly got really angry about the stigma of epilepsy and my own self-stigma. I look back at it and I said, I had so much to offer, and I did offer a lot. I wish I'd offered more, but I did offer certain amounts.
But I want to pause on that just real quick, because I think that's something that we have to acknowledge first is the self-stigma.
Yes.
Which I think is so unconscious sometimes. Or subconscious, we don't realize that we're doing it, but it's like how you said you just felt othered. For me, I felt like a burden. And I think both those things and so many more are really common for people with epilepsy.
I also think to that point that, and this is one of the things that I'm passionate about, is how can people with epilepsy separate their self-image from what happens because of side effects of medication? And I think this is really a big part of it, because we want to get that lived experience input into the science, the research that's developing, what pharma takes into account.
Yes.
And so I see that as several points. I've done been on panels for, looking at proposals for research. And one of the things I always look for is side effects. Side effects are a huge thing in terms of my advocacy,
That's
stigma,
awesome.
and really happy to be a part of the Research Ambassador Program.